China is hot on the heels of the UK, and if current trends continue, it is extremely possible, in fact very likely, that China will overtake the UK as the #2 destination in the world by 2020. Now, for students in some countries, the reasons for going abroad relate not only to a desire, but also to a need. So it's important to keep in mind that full picture of outbound mobility forces that will drive students to go abroad. Then, of course, there's also the increasing ability to afford an education abroad. And in some cultures, there's a culture of going abroad, an expectation, like in Saudi Arabia. Then in other cultures, like in Indonesia, there's pressure to go abroad, either to honor the family or to provide for them in the future. So these drivers and how they vary by country are especially important to keep in mind for our marketing messages and how they might change in each country, but also when we predict the future, how these might change in different countries down the line. So markets in Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East will all be forecast to be the main growth drivers in the next few decades. India will challenge the US as the #2 economy in the world by 2050. And Indonesia, Mexico, and Nigeria could push the UK and France out of the top 10. Colombia and Poland will grow more strongly to 2050 than Brazil or Russia. Turkey could become larger than Italy. And Bangladesh, Egypt, Iran, Pakistan, and Thailand will all have surpassed Australia by 2050. When times are tough, when competition intensifies, those are the times when risks need to be taken, when new ideas need to be nurtured. And if you don't do it, someone else will. And that's going to make your bad situation even worse. So don't let that happen. One idea can suddenly transform a whole company or even an industry. Just imagine what one idea is lurking out there in the audience that might spark a whole sea change in our industry. Listen for the customer's voice. Create soundboards for student and partner feedback and use that feedback to creatively reshape and restructure what you're doing. Now, the speed of technological adoption now is overwhelming. Back in the day when the telephone was invented, it took 75 years before 50 million people owned a phone. Now, in contrast, it took only 35 days for 50 million people to download the Angry Birds app. And if we look at new technologies, they're advancing even faster. When the new Periscope app launched, it took them only 4 months to reach 10 million users. It took Twitter and Facebook 2 years to reach those levels.